Well, tonight, many are wondering what's next after President Trump's strike on a Syrian airbase. Reports are that 58 of 59 Tomahawk missiles hit their targets in the overnight attack. The missile strike is in response to the Syrian regime's use of chemical weapons earlier this week. Many world leaders have rallied around the U.S. after the response. However, Russia supports the Syrian government and denounced the U.S. military action. Eyewitness News at Philadelphia City Hall tonight for a protest. Those taking part say they want to stop what they call the Trump administration's war escalation and a U.S.-backed war against the Syrian people. Similar protests are taking place in other cities as well. The many Syrians we spoke with today hope that the airstrikes help to bring peace to their nation at war. Greg Argos is in our satellite center right now with more from one expert who says in an unstable region like Syria, anything's possible. Greg?
Yuki, Michael Horowitz is a Penn political science professor whose expertise is in the use of military force. He says the U.S. airstrike against a Syrian airfield could lead to more stability in the region, or it could lead to more U.S. involvement and a bigger escalation. The U.S. airstrike against the al-Sharad airfield in Syria could be a turning point in the 6-year civil war, which has killed thousands in that country.
It's possible that this strike by the United States is the punch across the nose that convinces Assad to maybe back down a little bit and try to treat his people more responsibly.
But UPenn political science professor Michael Horowitz says anything is possible in such an unstable region.
On the other hand, it's also possible that Assad and Russia will escalate, that they will calculate that the United States might not go further and will continue their campaign against the people of Syria.
Thursday, the U.S. shot 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles into Syria, destroying the airfield where President Bashar al-Assad is said to have launched a chemical attack which killed dozens of innocent Syrians.
Is this the beginning of something larger?
The cruise missile strike by the United States against Syria could be seen as the first step in escalating U.S. involvement in Syria.
Horowitz says Russia's involvement in the region also muddies the water, especially if they decide to bolster their air defense systems as a result of the U.S. missile strike.
If Russia deploys more air defenses, it won't just make future attacks against the Assad regime harder, it could also complicate the war against ISIS.
Now, it's unclear exactly what the United States' next step is in this conflict, but Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, did say, quote, the U.S. is willing to do more in a speech to the UN about the U.S. Syrian airstrike. I'm live here in the SAT Center. Greg Argos, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Greg, thank you. Meantime, local politicians from both sides of the aisle are responding to the airstrike in Syria. We caught up with both Republicans and Democrats for their thoughts on the attack.
The gassing of its own citizens by any measurement is such an outrageous act. I think the president did an appropriate response and sent a very clear message that we as a nation, more importantly, we as a world, are not going to put up with such outrageous and deadly consequences.
And Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick also responded in a statement saying, in part, our nation's response to Syria was both measured in its scope and relevant in its target. We must unite as a nation against egregious violations of human rights and not sit idly by while a brutal dictator takes the lives of innocent citizens, including children, through the use of banned chemical weapons. Stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the Syria strike. You can track all the updates here on Eyewitness News and on our website, cbsphilly.com.